When I think of a classic cake that's great for beginners, I think of my classic white cake with a traditional American buttercream. Beautiful. It's as easy as it is delicious. Gorgeous. I think you're gonna love it. Today, I'm gonna teach you how to sift all of your dry ingredients, cream your butter and sugar thoroughly until it's whipped and fluffy, bake it off in the oven, and top it with some delicious traditional American buttercream. I have this concept called the Flavor Star, and the Flavor Star can go a variety of different directions. You can have sweet, you can have herbal or bitter, but this cake happens to be sweet, and that comes from the presence of the granulated sugar. So let's start with sifting our dry ingredients. I'm gonna start with sifting my flour. I'm just gonna scoop it directly into my sifter. So pop that in. And now we have our baking powder and our salt. And now we sift. The reason that we're gonna sift this through, it's gonna give you that light and fluffy texture. No dense cakes here. All right, so now that that's done, you just wanna pour your pre-sifted ingredients along the length of the parchment paper. And I like this technique because it helps me not to create such a mess when I go to put everything into the mixer. We're gonna set it over here because we're gonna use that after we cream our butter and sugar. Let's grab those. First, we're gonna pop in our sugar. Plop in our room temperature butter. That's key. You won't be able to achieve proper creaming of your butter and sugar if it's not in fact at room temperature. We're gonna lock it in and just let it go. And you're gonna want this to go for about 2 to 3 minutes until it's light and fluffy. We're gonna have this started on low just until everything's kind of incorporated, and then after, you're gonna notch it up to about medium. All right, let's take a look. See, this is exactly what we want. It's paler in complexion. So now grab a rubber spatula. You're gonna wanna scrape down the excess off of your paddle and from the sides. I'm someone who really likes to get in there though, so we're gonna twist it off. And we really wanna make sure that we scrape down the sides very well because we don't want any bits unincorporated that later fall into our cake. Okay, let's get this on and lock it back in. We're gonna drop our eggs in next, but it's important to do this one at a time. You wanna make sure that you're not crowding inside because sometimes what will happen is the yolk of the egg will kind of get trapped underneath. You go to mix your cake and you see a whole bunch of yellow streaks. So let's turn it up to low to start, and once it's going, we're gonna notch it up to medium. Let's take it out. So while that's creaming together, I'm actually gonna step over to my oven and preheat it to 350 degrees. Oh, looks good. Let's drop in our last egg. And we're gonna lower our speed back down. And we're gonna grab our parchment paper and we're creating like a funnel. We're gonna fold and pin our back together. That's the last of our dry. So the reason I like to alternate from the dry to the wet ingredients with this cake in particular is because that collection of that dry ingredients and things like that, you wanna make sure you're really giving an opportunity for everything to be properly incorporated. So we're gonna pop that back down to low stir. We're just gonna stream our milk in. Once it seems like it's starting to become incorporated, we're gonna notch that back up and just let that go for a little bit. I'm gonna clear my workspace and grab my cake pans. So here I have 2 6-inch cake pans. They have parchment in the base, but we still have to do some things. We're gonna take our parchment out, and I have some room temperature butter. and just rub it all the way around the inside. You want to be really liberal with your butter. If you don't have butter, that's fine. A cooking spray will be sufficient. Just really make sure you cover every crevice of your pan. Pro tip: place your parchment directly after buttering your pans. If you put your flour in first, it's not going to stick properly, and then you're just going to have a sloshy mess and you're going to get frustrated. And just press around. So now we're going to add our flour, just a little. And I actually only put flour in the one pan, and I'll show you why. I line up my next pan, tap the flour around, and whatever flour remains falls into the next pan. The more you do this, the better you'll be able to keep things pretty much inside instead of spilling additional flour. All right, I think our pans look great. Up, and it looks beautiful. Pop that down. Look at that smooth and velvety texture. That's how you know it's ready. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take just heaping scoops, placing that gently into our cake pans. Look at you. You're gonna taste so good, I can tell already. Now, we're gonna whack our pans. We're gonna release any unnecessary air bubbles that may be sitting on the surface. 1, 2. That's really all they need. You don't wanna get crazy or else you're gonna get a really flat and dense cake. And they're ready for the oven. We're gonna set them into the middle rack so that they can receive even distribution of heat. We're gonna let this go for about 25 minutes, come back and check with a toothpick and see how they're doing. Let's see. Oh, they look gorgeous. So I'm gonna take a toothpick and I'm just gonna insert it directly into the middle. And what we're looking for is for them to come out clean. Let's see. They look great. Now remember, a couple of crumbs are just fine. These are good, no wet batter. Let's pop them onto a cooling rack. Okay, so we're gonna wanna let these cool probably for about 35 to 45 minutes until they're able to be manipulated without ruining them. So while those are cooling off, let's start in our buttercream. In first is gonna go our salt and our butter. Sprinkle in that salt. Pop it down, lock, and we're gonna let that go until it's very smooth. About a minute or so. I'm just gonna let this go at medium-high speed. That looks good. Pop this down and scrape down our sides. We are going to sift in our confectioner's sugar. We're gonna put in the first half of sugar. About a cup. And again, the idea here is that you're gonna be removing any clumps that would make for a not at all smooth texture for your buttercream. So we'll just sip those right in. Perfect. Coming down. And we're gonna start on low. Okay, looks good, things are coming together. We can kick up that speed. Let's go to medium. And what you're looking for here is for everything to start to come together in like a ball or paste form. Beautiful, we're gonna stop it there. Lift this up. We're gonna scrape any excess off of our paddle because we are going to scrape down our sides, making sure that everything is getting fully mixed in. All right, this is ready to go back on. Mix it up, create that funnel, pop it off, and sift the rest of our dry ingredients back into the base. All right, it's all in. I'm gonna place this over here, drop it down. Remember, starting on low as it incorporates. So this is what we're looking for, that thick paste that kind of sticks to your paddle attachment. Once it reaches this, we are going to add in our heavy whipping cream. Start on low. Okay, now that things are starting to get mixed in, we're gonna knock this up to high. Oh, it looks beautiful. So it's okay to stop this. It's been 3 minutes. We're just gonna scrape down those sides. Look at that. It's gorgeous. It's velvety. That's exactly what we want. So this is a cake stand and turntable. It is not at all necessary, but it is definitely a big help. It allows you to turn your cakes in a fluid motion. So now that our cakes have cooled, I'm gonna pop them out. Let's see, oh, look at that. It came out so clean. We're gonna peel off our parchment, set that aside. So as you can see, our cake has a little bit of a dome. Don't worry, this is gonna work in your favor. I have a serrated knife, but any sturdy kitchen knife will work. And if you're not comfortable freehand using a knife, you can go out to the store and they have cake levelers that are readily available. So I'm gonna start at that edge, keeping our fingers up. We're gonna just go like this. We're just gonna twist, and you're gonna come out with this beautiful level cut. So by cutting these down evenly, it's gonna help with the stability of the cake once you add that buttercream. And look at that, it's perfect. Also, if you happen to be like a lot of people out there and just need a moment to yourself, go hide somewhere and enjoy a cake top. So this one looks beautiful. We're gonna set this one aside and do number 2. So now that we have 2 beautifully leveled cakes, we are going to apply our buttercream using our offsetting spatula. This is probably one of my favorite tools in my kitchen. It allows me to apply an even and smooth layer of buttercream. We're gonna just take a little bit and we are going to apply it directly in the center of our cake. It doesn't require too much. And here, let me show you what you're gonna do. You're gonna hold the sides of your cake and you are just gonna rock that back and forth. You're gonna turn and rock. And you're gonna work it out from the center to the edges, and then you can pick up speed as you go. So I'm just gonna scoop a little bit of additional buttercream to place into the center. And again, we're just gonna work it down, slight small twist, and then just bring it around. So typically I would not put this much in the center, but we're doing a naked cake today, which just means it's undressed. There's no buttercream that's going to exist on the outside of the cake. I just want to have enough so that it is feeling balanced with equal parts cake and buttercream. So this is looking really good. I'm gonna just level it off and we'll look at it. Ooh, she's pretty. And we are gonna grab our other round. We're gonna pop it on. And I personally love to do open side down. This looks beautiful. Just good old healthy dollop. So just work it down, take your time. It's just you and the buttercream. All right, we've brought it out to the edge. So now we are gonna top it with some florals, just really simple and beautiful. So in here we have some roses, baby's breath, additional greenery. This is looking good. And these are flowers you can really find at any store. I'm gonna just dry off the bottom. So as beautiful as these are not to eat. These are just for decorating, just to make it all look really beautiful. And I'm going to trim away most of the stem. So I'm thinking I'm gonna place this one about right here. I like to mix colors and textures and also different heights to keep things really interesting. Yep, I like this. It's gonna create some height and give your cake some really eye-catching depth. Yep, I love it. Oh, you're so pretty. Look at that. She's beautiful. I think I'm gonna cut a small piece from the back. Oh my God. This is so good. The buttery, velvety texture of the buttercream pairs so beautifully with the moist cake. The best thing about this recipe is that it can go a variety of different directions. This happens to be sweet on the flavor star, but you can easily take it sour by incorporating fresh lemon, or take it spice with a variety of spices. The possibilities are really endless. In this chapter, we learned how to make my classic white cake with a traditional American buttercream. We learned how to sift our dry ingredients together, how to cream our butter and sugar until it was light and fluffy in texture, and then we finished off with topping some fresh florals. I really love this recipe, and I hope you do too.